as usual. I have everything set up to go, and then everything disappears on me. So we're going to have to wing it, unfortunately. Yeah, it's been quite a week. Hope you all had a good week. I know it's been a lot happening politically and otherwise. So it's Crystal, Ray, Bill, Lynn, right on, starting to come in. Yeah. Okay, so I had everything lined up on X, and then it said new posts, and it took me to the top, and I can't find anything. We're going to work around it. So, let's see. I still saved some, I believe, that I had. And maybe not. Yes, I do. Okay, let's start with the ASEAN their summit. They're in Kuala Lumpur. Okay? 40 feet away from Large Bull. That's pretty close. And I'll bring this one up here. Now, this is only 5 minutes. It's not. I'm only going to torture you for 5 minutes on this one. And I'll get. Oh, let's see. Bring this other my streaming software up, and I will go to my screen. Once I find it, there it is. We'll get this going. And this is Carney over in Asia, and notice how he starts subtly, not so subtly, throwing dirt at the United States. This guy just can't help himself. He is pathetic. So here he is over there throwing these little digs out.
Now, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, as for the tradition, we will first invite the guests of the chair, and we begin with the Prime Minister of Canada.
Thank you very much, Prime Minister, for that introduction, for your hospitality, and for your leadership in this vital forum at this historic time, and your leadership over the years and going forward. Your Royal Highness, Your Excellencies, it is an honor to be here. I chose this summit and this visit to Malaysia as my first trip as Prime Minister to Asia for a reason. And that is, like ASEAN, Canada values sustainability and inclusivity in everything we do. And I felt as I walked in to the summit, as I said to His Excellency, that I felt at home seeing the symbolism here. We value a rules-based system. We respect trade agreements and the rule of law. We value the free exchange of goods, capital, and ideas. We're a natural partner. And as one of your earliest dialogue partners, we value ASEAN as the standard bearer of multilateralism. And I just want to say a few words about how we can contribute to building that. I recognize your words this morning. We're at an uncertain time in the world. There's a shift. We don't know the new system that's going to emerge. This is more of a rupture than a transition. It's a shift that's happening in a short period of time. Multilateralism giving way to transactional bilateral trade, a new era of great power rivalry, technological change, shrinking distance, and increasing the fields of conflicts, developments that all challenge the effectiveness of the institutions on which we as middle powers have long relied. It makes ASEAN more important than ever. And it underscores the importance of reliable partners who honor their commitments, who are there in tough times, and when things are not working, who work collaboratively to fix them. And again, I want to commend you, Chair, and in brokering the peace agreement that was announced this morning. A future determined by commitment, not circumstance, again to quote. And colleagues, I would like to just underscore that Canada can be and is such a partner. Let me give an example. A few days ago, I announced our plan to double our non-U.S. exports over the course of the next decade. That's more than $300 billion in new trade, much of which we hope will be with this group. We think we can do that because we have much of what the world wants. We're an energy superpower in both clean and conventional. We expect within the next 5 years to produce and export 50 million tons of LNG every year to Asia, and to double that within 10 years from then. We have domestically an electricity grid that is 85% clean. We will expand that by 50% over the next decade, including with new forms of nuclear power, small modular reactors. We're one of the largest, blessed with one of the largest resources of critical minerals and rare earths, just like many around the table. And part of our partnership offer is to work with you on financing and developing that, including through what we formed a critical mineral alliance, which can provide a secure buyer for these resources so that you can develop them over time. In other words, to be part of the solution. With respect to defense, AI, cyber, just to give context, we are quadrupling our spending on defense in the next 5 years. Much of that will be in the realms of cyber security, artificial intelligence, and the interactions. This is an area where our cooperation is ideal. Let me conclude by just underscoring one thing with respect to trade. President Brabo, thank you. We concluded a historic trade agreement, our first bilateral free trade agreement with an ASEAN partner, with speed and with ambition. This reflects what we want to do as a government. We will bring the same commitment to bilateral discussions with any of you who are interested, but very importantly, and this is something I wanted to underscore, we would like to complete the negotiations of the Canada-ASEAN Free Trade Agreement over the course of next year's presidency. President Marcos, we discussed earlier, we will put all the resources in. And finally, to supplement your work on digital, on clean tech, and on energy wherever we can, because this is the form of reason and respect. This is the form of inclusivity and sustainability, and we are keen to contribute in any way we can. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Prime Minister Carney, and we'll certainly continue these traditional relations with Canada. It's been helpful not only to Malaysia but to ASEAN.
Well, he congratulated the president of Malaysia, I guess it is, and the peace deal. He kind of neglected to mention that President Trump set it up. And, of course, throwing a few digs in there about trade and cutting trade with the U.S. and siding with Asia, because he's off to Beijing too, of course, right? But, well, President Trump, to get the right mouse, he had a little thing to say there too. I will see if I can find it. Here it is. And it's quite different. So take a listen to this one. It's also short.
Thailand. The Prime Minister of the Kingdom of Cambodia and the President of the United States of America.
Well, this is so exciting because we did something that a lot of people said couldn't be done, and we saved maybe millions of lives on this one peace deal itself. And I'll tell you what makes me so happy is the two countries we're dealing with, and the third that helped so much, appreciate so much. Maybe it couldn't have been done without you, but they really like each other. I'm not used to that when I do these deals. Usually there's a lot of hatred. They like each other. So it made it a little bit easier. But millions of people are alive today because of this peace treaty. So before I begin, I want to extend our deepest condolences to the Prime Minister, Newton, as well as His Majesty, the King of Thailand, and the entire nation on the passing of Her Majesty, Queen Sirikhet, the Queen Mother, and a beautiful, incredible woman who is so respected all over the world, actually respected. I know the people of Thailand will remember her forever as the embodiment of dignity, kindness, and grace. This just happened. But this is a woman who is so loved and respected. Today we honor the memory by bringing the blessing of peace to the nation she dearly loved. She loved this nation like few people love their nations. This is a momentous day for all of the people of Southeast Asia as we sign a historic agreement to end the military conflict between Cambodia and Thailand. So honored to be involved in that. So important to me. Two great countries, but they were going at it. I want to congratulate the two courageous leaders, and that's what they are. They were courageous, who are taking this monumental step. Prime Minister Hun Manet and Prime Minister Nut. I also want to thank Prime Minister Anwar of Malaysia. I called him right at the beginning and I said, you have two countries that are fighting right next to you. We need a third place. We need a sort of a neutral place, right? And he was there and I said to him, if we get this solved, I'm coming to your country. And I told the truth, didn't I? A lot of times they say that, and that's the last you ever see. But I felt I had an obligation to come because you were so great, and the two men alongside of you are so great. Historic figures now, really historic figures. So I felt it was an obligation I had. I told it to you. That was about a year ago, and all of this has taken place. It's been so beautiful to see. It had started, and there was a lot of killing, and then when we got it stopped very quickly in this case. Some we did in 32 years. Took 32 years to get them stopped. They were fighting for a long time. This was very nasty, but it was stopped very quickly before it started. And the two leaders have great respect for each other. But the Prime Minister played a very important role in helping convene the two sides for discussions here in Kuala Lumpur. Earlier this year, an armed clash broke out along the border of these two countries. Really ancient countries by most standards. They've been long time, tremendous cultures, resulting in numerous deaths and thousands and thousands of people displaced from their homes. It was starting because of America's strong commitment to stability and peace in this region and every region where we can do it. My administration immediately began working to prevent the conflict from escalating. I held phone calls with both leaders. I was actually at Turnberry in Scotland when I did this. And we had a lot of phone calls, the three of us and then the four of us. We had a lot of phone calls. It was a beautiful day. I remember how beautiful it was. Turnberry is a great place, but I said, this is much more important than playing around the golf. So we sat there all day long making phone calls, and it was amazing the way it came together very quickly. I mean, really very quickly. You caused me very good entertainment. I could have had a lot of fun, but this is much more fun for me than anything having to do with almost anything, because you're saving people and saving countries. But ask them to choose the path of prosperity and peace over needless bloodshed and war. At the end of July, after extremely productive discussions, we reached a ceasefire agreement. And now these gentlemen, and they really are gentlemen, high quality people, both went to college in the United States, and now these gentlemen are about to sign what we're calling the Kuala Lumpur Peace Accords. Good name. Both countries are agreeing to cease all hostilities and work to build good neighborly relationships, which have already started. 18 Cambodian prisoners of war will be released, and under this agreement, observers from ASEAN countries including Malaysia, will be deployed to make sure that the peace prevails and endures. And I have no doubt that it will. We have another situation like that right now in the Middle East and Gaza. You might have read a little bit about Gaza, and that's another one we're very proud of. But we have a lot of people watching that. A lot of people. I think this is a much different kind of a thing. The two countries are getting along really well. Today, alongside this peace treaty, we also are signing a major trade deal with Cambodia and a very important critical minerals agreement with Thailand. The United States will have a robust commerce and cooperation transactions, lots of them, with both nations as long as they live in peace. And I really feel that when we make deals, we see two countries that we do a lot of business with. We do a lot of business with both of them. We have to use that business to make sure they don't get into wars. But this is going to be a very long peace. So as you know, this is one of 8 wars that my administration has ended in just 8 months. We're averaging one a month. There is only one left. Although I heard that Pakistan and Afghanistan have started up, but I'll get that solved very quickly. I know them both, and the Pakistan, the field marshal and the prime minister are great people, and I have no doubt we're going to get that done quickly. That one started up a few days ago, and I just feel it's something I can do. I do it nicely. I don't need to do it, I guess, but if I can take time and save millions of lives, that's really a great thing. I can't think of anything better to do. But the 8 wars that my administration has ended in just 8 months, there's never been anything like that. Never. There never will be either. I can't think of any president that ever solved one war. I don't think anybody. They start wars, they don't solve them. So nothing like this has been done in history, and it's an honor to be involved. On behalf of the United States, I'm proud to help settle this conflict and really develop good friendships, including people that work with each team. Look at these very distinguished people, except for my people. My people are much less distinguished, but they're very good. But look, my people understand the joke. But look at these very distinguished people, and I've gotten to know them. I want to thank Marco Rubio for being here. He was great. You always help. He's born for this job. He really was. He was born for this job. Secretary of State Jameson, thank you very much for all you did on helping too. He's the foremost expert on trade, and we're going to be doing another couple of stops where we'll be talking about no war, just pure trade. We'll be talking to President Xi in a day. We'll be stopping at Japan. We'll be stopping at South Korea, and we'll be doing some other things, but they're more related to trade. But on behalf of the United States, I'm proud to help settle this conflict and forge a future for the region where proud independent nations can prosper and thrive, safety, security, and peace. It's an amazing thing that's happened to the United States because a year and a half ago, we were a dead country. We were actually a dead country, and now we're the hottest country anywhere in the world. And when I called you, we were in the process of becoming hot. It's actually quite a while right now, but we were sort of on our way, and we had won the election big in a massive amount. And so I was respected when I called you, and it was a little bit easier. I think it's easier when you respect somebody than if you don't respect somebody. If you don't respect somebody, it never happens. But I won't forget that day because it was one of the first wars that I got involved in, and I love doing it. It's like, I shouldn't say it's a hobby because it's so much more serious than a hobby, but it's something that I'm good at, and it's something I love to do. The United Nations should be doing this, but they don't do it. They don't do it. They turned off my teleprompter when I made a speech. I had to make a speech without a teleprompter. They're good at that. The escalator wasn't working too well. It came to a complete halt. But, I mean, the United Nations has such great potential. I wish they could do it. They didn't get involved with us at all. We just did the deal and reported the deal, and everybody was sort of amazed that we got it done so quickly and so nicely. But now I'd like to ask Prime Minister Anwar to say a few words, and then we'll hear from Prime Minister Hun Manet and Prime Minister Newton. And these are, I just have to say it for a last time, these are incredible men. The way they came together, the way they worked so hard, and we worked long hours. It was not long days because the days were few in number, but the hours were very long and very intense. There was a lot of intensity going on because there was a lot of shooting happening while we were talking. That brings it to a new level. And the three men sitting there should really be credited with having done just an incredible job for humanity. Thank you all very much. It's an honor to have worked with you. Appreciate it. Please.
Thank you, President Donald J. Trump, for giving us this honor. And on behalf, of course, Malaysia and our country.
Okay. So that was the fellow that got the peace deal going. So that's another one. It seems when one peace deal is signed, there's another war breaks out. So that's life on the planet here. Be nice to get them under control, but it's human nature, I guess. People can't get along with their neighbors. Now, to do a little cleanup here. Still looking. I'm gonna have to do a little bit of looking here to see if I can find what I had lined up. I noticed this. This is. I don't think there's any audio on this, but it's from Chris Dacey on the ostriches, and it is very suspicious what they're hauling away here.
So that's some sort of pressure vessel.
Yeah, pressure vessel. Usually that's for cooking with, right? Like a pressure cooker.
So that's some sort of pressure vessel.
Sorry about that. Yeah. It's very suspicious what's going on with the blue bins. And Nana 0000 says it's a liquidizer to hide the destruction of the ostriches. Now, the Supreme Court of Canada hasn't scheduled to see that case in November. So what's going on right now, if they're blocking any, or if they're destroying any of the birds, totally illegal. They don't have any right to, because it's still before the courts. They've wanted to put up blue tarps now so they can hide from the people that have got long range devices, capture devices that they can see from long distance. And I'm not sure what this one is. This is about the tarps here. This is Chris again. So I'll bring Chris Dacey up. He's on top of this. He's basically stationed right there. So here's Chris.
Hey, Casey, here at the Universal Ostrich Farms in Edgewood, British Columbia, and there's a bit of action, it seems, going on behind us. Police liaisons came to me earlier to tell me and to contact the family that they would be putting tarps from the kill pen to protect birds. Yeah, okay, yeah. I mean,
obviously, like, think about it. If they were putting them, then, hey, we got a barn there that has sufficient water. There's no water in that pen. So why are you putting, that pen is obsolete through the winter. No running water for the birds, no fresh water. So what, they're not going to let them drink now?
well, did you see the video I posted yesterday when they were drinking out of a dirty puddle?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
a small puddle, and I don't know if that's normal, but
Well, the odd
They do
time, yeah,
sometimes,
they do.
yeah, okay.
But in
not
the same
trying to get like
respect,
dramatic,
but that's why we have fresh water for them, so
Yeah.
that they're getting adequate water source. There is no water source in that back pen. None. except for a pond.
And none of these
That they're
preparations,
covering
like
up.
I'm not a farmer and I'm certainly not an ostrich farmer, but it appears to me that none of the preparations for winter have been going on.
No.
And now they come in today and they say we're going to put a tarp in the kill pen
For
to
themselves.
protect the birds.
No, it's
like,
right where they're killing them.
yeah, to protect
It's right
yeah.
beside them.
Correct me
I
if
try
I'm
not to be
wrong,
too conspiracy.
but do you not
The only
have a
tarp they put
tarp?
up is
Yeah.
for themselves.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but do you not have a tarp for that barn?
The big
Bought
one?
and ready to go?
No, we've got it ordered. There is a secondary shelf roof in there, and it looks. I told them they had to attach it because it would take care of at least 100 birds, and if they utilize the other shelters, everybody could go to shelter. But then we still bed a couple spots outside because not everybody goes, right?
Yeah.
Unless you got a week of snow, then at night, yeah, there's nobody on the grounds; they're all inside. But we've accommodated that everybody has a shelter. Now they've got that, so they can be utilizing it. But if anything, if you're going to start putting up tarps, put one right over that barn.
Yeah.
There's
Exactly.
two waters in there. It's
Yes.
great for winter. It's fresh fodder. You could bed out the whole farm
So,
in that barn.
Like how
We
hardy
would've
are
had
these
that
birds
done.
in the winter?
Now, we would have had that new tarp on that barn if we were allowed in there.
Yeah,
Like
for
if
sure.
we had the next step of what we had to do is put that new tarp on.
Yeah, and it appears to me that none of the farm work that should be going on here is being done. Like none.
No, they're poking birds and pushing birds around. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
And they've got to open up that one pen because there's a sufficient barn there that holds about 50 birds. And that pen's empty.
and so they need that in the
Totally
winter.
empty.
Like I don't know how these birds
Absolutely.
work, but like they must need some
dry
sort of
bedding,
shelter.
dry bedding and a shelter.
Yeah.
And access to. They can come and go, but if they're getting a little bit cold,
Then
they
they
will
can come
go
and bed in.
and use it. That's the thing. Some birds prefer to be outside, but if it gets really wet and cold, you better believe they'll all go inside.
Yeah, they need that. Well, guess we'll keep an eye on things here. It gets more dystopian by the minute.
It's
really.
more
It's
disgusting
so
daily.
ridiculous.
Daily. This is our government well at work.
Yeah.
The other thing that we've mentioned to them a couple of times now, with the wet weather and the chances of the leaf sticking to the hay that they brought in, to the stems, the chances for impaction and the birds go way up.
And what is impaction?
Impaction is a ball that forms in the gizzard
Okay.
and prevents food from getting to the intestine.
It
So
comes
they
a
get
hard
starved
ball in
basically
there.
after that.
It's basically
Yeah, they dig.
Yeah.
They can't eat anymore.
Man, brutal.
And we've tried to explain this.
Yeah.
That's why we buy hay from where we get it,
Yeah.
from Rick, because he's experienced in what we need. He knows what we need, and he supplies the good stuff. Yes, they've brought in second crop hay, but if the moisture content is too high in it, the leaf doesn't come off the stem.
Yeah, okay.
And if the leaf doesn't come off the stem, then they eat the stem, which makes an impactional ball in there,
Yeah.
and it plugs them. And it's death.
Yeah, so their food is important,
Yeah.
obviously.
But-
like
But they won't listen to us. We
Yeah.
told them we already ordered another load of hay.
Yeah.
Good stuff. The stuff that,
yeah, like alfalfa I heard
well,
about.
no,
or-
it's all alfalfa. They're bringing in probably a high quality alfalfa,
Yeah.
but it's too high in moisture.
Okay.
It's got to be a low
Same
moisture.
problem that they did when they set the bales on fire by mistake. Like
Yeah.
somebody should know about spontaneous combustion before they bring in 100 bales.
But the thing is, they won't listen.
Yeah.
We got to send them an email. They send the email off to Ottawa before they can answer us.
Yeah.
There's no communications.
Well, there's zero transparency from what I can. Like it's
Absolutely.
the opposite. There's no public relations. The RCMP are kind of being go-betweens. They seem frustrated.
Oh, they are
Everyone's
frustrated.
frustrated. It's an absolutely wild scene here.
We've got what I would say is a good working relationship with the RCMP.
I think so
And
too.
why do they have 100 members
I know.
for this project?
Yeah.
It's absolute stupidity.
Yeah.
Who-
And,
who-
and they're
who's
not
the-
happy about it. You can
No,
tell. They're
no,
not.
they're not. Well, it's a waste of their time. It's a waste of their energy.
I think that frustration lately that we've seen too, it's not with you guys or the farm, it's with being the gophers and being embarrassed by CFIA,
That's
I
right.
think.
Absolutely right.
Okay, well, man, it's never a dull moment around here, but thank you for your time,
Okay,
Dave, and we can
thank you.
dig in more later.
Yeah, ongoing issue there, hey? It's terrible. Terrible what they're doing. Canada had a chance to shine, and now it's we can hang our heads in shame. Not us, but the authorities, the government. But it is typical of this government, isn't it? So it's what we're stuck with for now. I'm quite concerned that we're going to be stuck with it for a while longer, because when the budget comes down, if the NDP supports it, then they'll stay in power till next year, and if they don't support it, then they might get back in, and they might even get a few more seats. Then we're in big trouble, because then they're in there for another 4 years or so, if we get another election. I keep saying I said that was Trudeau. I didn't know if we'd get another election or not. I'm still trying to find these these ones that disappeared on me, but I'll just keep going through it. Now, what else did I have here? I was looking at, come to think of it, I was looking at our refugee claims again, because they've been hiding it on us. They've changed their website all around, and they don't want us to see the numbers. And what I see here on this for numbers is just this little blip that I could find. It says there was a backlog of 291,975 unprocessed claims as of July of 2025, up from just about 10,000 when the Liberals took office in 2015. So just under 292,000 unprocessed claims now since the Liberals come in. And then I wanted to see, actually, it was, let's see if I can have it here. Yeah, I wanted to see how much the financial support was. I was quite surprised, actually. I was very surprised at how much financial support an unprocessed refugee receive in Canada while awaiting a hearing. Well, it says individuals who have filed a refugee claim, known as asylum seekers or claimants, but are awaiting a hearing at the Immigration and Refugee Board, are not considered resettled refugees, and thus do not qualify for federal programs like the Resettlement Assistance Program, or RAP, which provides monthly income support to government-assisted refugees for up to 1 year. Well, those are the ones that are getting the big bucks. Instead, support for these claimants varies by province or territory, as they are eligible for provincial and territorial social assistance programs. So they're available for welfare. That's what that's saying. If they meet financial need criteria, which I'm sure they all would. This assistance is temporary and intended to cover basic needs like shelter, food, while the claim is processed. Eligibility typically requires proof of the refugee claim, that's confirmation or referral from the IRCC, and proof of low income or assets. You just got to turn their pockets inside out and have the referral from the IRCC, and then they go on the welfare roll. So the key points: there's no automatic federal cash support. Unlike resettled refugees, claimants rely on provincial systems. Provincial variations, rates are set by each province or territory. And there's additional non-cash support, which is the interim federal health program for essential health care, and children can enroll in public schools for free. Well, they deserve health care, I think, because you cannot just have people coming in and passing away or being sick and being even a bigger drain on the system. So a little preventative, catch it quick, deal with the problem sooner than later. Duration assistance continues until the claim is decided, work study permit is obtained, or self-sufficiency is achieved, whichever comes first, and it can take months to years due to backlogs. So what are they getting? How much are they getting? The provincial territorial social assistance rates for the claimants in 2025. These are the estimates. These are for basic needs, shelter, food, incidentals. Apply to eligible single adults or females, or families rather, female or families. They are approximate and based on standard social assistance guidelines. Actual amounts may vary by location, family size, special needs like disabilities. Alberta, it's $1,200 to $1,400 a month for a single adult, and a family of 2, adult and child, $1,800 to $2,200 a month. They're not getting really rich, and that's in Alberta. British Columbia, it's $1,100 to $1,300 for a single, and $1,600 to $200 for a couple. Manitoba, $900 to $1,100, and $1,400 to $1,800 for a couple. New Brunswick, $800 to $1,000 a month for a single person. $1,300 to $1,700 for 2. It's hard to get by on. It's $200 a week. I guess that's why the food banks are lined up probably in each province. Would be one side effect of it, I guess. Newfoundland and Labrador, $900 to $1,100 for a single, $1,400 to $1,800, and everything is more expensive over on the Rock. Northwest Territories, $1,500 to $1,700, and $2,200 to $2,600 for 2. And it's expensive in the territories, so they're not living a high life. Nova Scotia, $800 to $1,000. That's the same as New Brunswick. $1,300 to $1,700 for a couple. Nunavut, $1,600 to $1,800 for a single, and $2,300 to $2,700 for a couple. Ontario, $733 basic plus shelter allowance up to $1,000, and $1,200 to $1,800 with child benefits. PI, $800 to $1,000 for a single person, and $1,300 to $1,700. And Quebec, $700 to $900 for a single, $1,200 to $1,600. 2 or more. And then there's Saskatchewan, $1,000 to $1,200, $1,500 to $1,900, and Yukon, $1,400 to $1,600, and $2,000, $2,400. Yukon was a little better than the territories, but then again, the prices are so expensive in the north. So these people are not coming in to the land of milk and honey, coming into hard times. It's just a mess, is what it is. It's created by Trudeau, carrying on with Carney, and we're paying the price. Now, the Fraser Institute, it's an article here, it's a 2-minute read, and it says, this is October 21st of this year. Canada has fewer doctors, hospital beds, MRI machines, and longer wait times than most other countries with universal health care. Comparing the province of universal health care countries in 2025, of the 31 high-income universal health care countries, Canada ranks among the highest spenders, but ranks poorly on both the availability of most resources and access to services. After adjustments for differences in the age of the population of these 31 countries, Canada ranked 3rd highest for spending as a percentage of GDP in 2023, the most recent year for that data. Across 13 indicators measured, the availability of medical resources and timely access to medical services in Canada is generally below that of the average OECD country. We wait months to get in to see a doctor. This is not a good healthcare system we have, not at all. In 2023, Canada ranked 27th of 30 for the relative availability of doctors and 25th of 30 for hospital beds dedicated to physical care. In 2022, Canada ranked 27th of 31 for the relative availability of magnetic resonance, the MRI machines, and 28th for CT scanners. Canada ranked last or close to last on 3 of the 4 indicators of timeliness of care. People are in the hallways, in chairs, in on stretchers. There's no place to put them. Notably, among the 9 countries for which comparable wait times measure are available, Canada ranked last for the percentage of patients reporting that they were able to make a same or next day appointment when sick. Good luck trying to get an appointment the same day or the next day. I wait 3 months. Canada also ranked 8th worst for the percentage of patients who waited more than 1 month to see a specialist, 65%, and reported the highest percentage of patients, 58%, who waited 2 months or more for a non-emergency surgery. I'm surprised somebody could get in with 2 months or so. Usually 6 months to a year. Canada also ranked 8th worst for the percentage of patients who waited more than 1 month to see a specialist, and reported the highest percentage of patients, 58%, who waited 2 months or more for non-emergency surgery. Clearly, there is an imbalance between what Canadians get in exchange for the money they spend on their healthcare system. Oh, yeah. I don't think we don't get much for what we spend. So, if you gotta go to the hospital in Canada, if you think you're gonna have to go to the hospital, maybe, or see a doctor, maybe you better make your appointment, I don't know, 3 months in advance. Everybody's using Dr. Google. You gotta go online to see what to do. Terra firma we got made. Yeah. They banned ivermectin. Yes, they did. And they banned hydroxychloroquine too. So, hey, too top heavy, Fred. Yeah, no kidding. Numbers are there. Doctors aren't. No. Not a good situation in our healthcare in Canada, and the numbers are, they're still coming in large numbers. Like I say, there's 292,000 unprocessed claims as of July. It's probably more now. So it's going to keep getting worse before it gets better. And so Carney shows up there with his elbozos. I don't know how many he's got with him. I'm getting tired of these elbozos around here too that just keep spouting off stuff that they don't have their brain in gear, but their mouth is in high speed. I don't like to talk about people I know, so I won't say anything. It might have been the two that were on here and ducked out. But yeah, I mean, and look at the big rallies in Alberta. This one here, this is short. I'm going to bring it up. Keith Wilson, the lawyer, was speaking in Alberta. It was a very powerful speech that he gave. I don't know if any of you caught it, but the crowds for separation are growing. Yeah. Now I seen somewheres the estimates were 20,000 and 50,000 online, watching the streaming online. Wow. I would say, look, I stand behind Alberta. I'm stuck on the East Coast. I stand behind Alberta. I spent so many years there. I got my trade there. Alberta was always used me good in Alberta. I've got nothing but good things to say about that province. It's a shame that we've come to this, but it's because of this government and previous governments too. Previous liberal governments, let me correct myself here. So, I know they'll do very well on their own, and they might be taking Saskatchewan probably with them. I don't think Wobbly Canoe will go. He's what he is. He's a special case. David Eby, I wouldn't be counting on him for anything. He's a loser, but he's got the power, it seems. So that's what Lower Mainland has done to the province, and anyways, that is what it is. You know, it's life in Canada under a Liberal government. So we are in deep trouble. What else did I have? Well, our dollar is tanking. That's a for sure. It's hanging in at 71 cents US, but we're I think that's kind of being propped up. So it is what it is. I don't have much faith in that Canadian dollar. The U.S. dollar seems to be holding strong because of the I think the U.S. is selling more than they're importing. Here we have a so-called El Bozo, so-called leader that figures he can do better with starting new agreements with other people, that you have to ship the stuff by ship instead of by a semi-truck. Is there any common sense in that? Not one bit. Price goes up, the time, the delay in shipping, getting from point A to point B is extended. Certain goods you can't ship by freight. We don't have a whole lot of produce that we'd be shipping over to Asia anyways, but we're definitely limited on perishable goods. I guess Carney figures he can, and Doug Ford, that useless piece of crap, figures they can ship maple syrup, I guess, and supply the world with maple syrup. Carney's talking oil now to Asia, or natural gas anyways, at least, but I don't know how he's going to get it there. I mean, is it just more talk and more BS from him? Or is he actually going to try to do something? Who knows? Yeah. Okay. What else? Well, that's our U.S. dollar chart. 71 cents. Not good. Let's see. Gee, I'd sure like to find those ones, because I was on OAN and I was watching one of their reporters talking about Venezuela and the U.S. And it was very interesting how she spelled that out, what's going on. And a lot of, well, it's kind of one of those cases where some people say, well, Trump is playing 3D chess and the other people are playing checkers. Yeah, I agree in this case anyways, I do. With Venezuela, I think Trump's playing 3D chess and Carney's playing marbles. But it's I wish I could have find. I had that held on hold for you folks, and then it just X went to new videos or something, and it just wiped it out on me. So let's see what Mark Deitz posted this one. Let's see what Whitney's got to say here. I haven't seen this. It's only like 4 minutes and 41 seconds long. Whitney's talking about the digital ID. You know what's going on over in the UK, and the people are revolting over this, which is great. But Canada is one of the countries that wants to bring it in. So Carney just wants that so bad. He wants to censor us.
These people have invested so much money on finding every excuse they can to try and get us, in the case of digital ID, get us to voluntarily want to adopt it. And we have to focus on the fact that if digital ID does not succeed and people do not comply, it will fail. I mean, it is the cornerstone of like the entire UN Agenda 2030. Without it, the programmable surveillable money won't work. A lot of their designs for what they want to do in the online virtual world will not work. And so much of it will not work if we do not comply with digital ID, and they're trying to force it on us as a voluntary thing. Sort of in the same way that vaccine passports were voluntary, which is why I encourage people, if you want to change the direction the world is going, you need to figure out how you are going to set up your life so you don't have to comply with digital ID the same way. Maybe if you were forced to comply with vaccine mandates and vaccine passports, how will you get around those type of restrictions when they try and impose, digital ID on people for various reasons? As I said earlier, before it was about, the vaccine and all of that. Now in the U.S., conservatives mainly are being pitched as this is a solution to illegal migration. This is a solution to voter fraud and all of this stuff. There's efforts to frame biometric digital ID as essential to solving cybercrime and hacking and cyberbullying and any other normal of essentially any ill of society. They're just going to say digital ID is going to be the solution to that, and they're sales pitches. But ultimately, if we, the digital ID is essential to the whole idea of the social credit score and any of these other, Orwellian designs that, at least enough people I hope know by now, is part and parcel of this agenda. And I think, again, it comes up to people having to make a choice. And the way they do this is through, they try and get us to comply with this is through convenience. It's convenience to opt in. It's convenient to have a digital ID. It's convenient to have, money on your phone and have your whole life be based on your smartphone and all of this. It's convenient to vote once every 4 years for one of the two lesser evils in all of this. But really, it's the convenience that they're using to enslave us, and it's inconvenient to find ways to opt out of these systems and change your life so that you're more resilient and your life is actually sustainable for you and your family and your community. It's perhaps inconvenient to get out off of the couch and off of the chair and go meet your neighbors physically and stop being on the online world so much and making real human connections and real human solutions to the problems we're facing. Because, again, that's why during COVID, the lockdowns, I think, were a big part of it, to keep people isolated, to keep people from connecting and force people to feel like they could only connect with others through this virtual world that these people control, because they control the infrastructure, the software, and the platforms. So I think, people need to consider that this convenience is really the carrot. Maybe there will be a stick at some point, but they seem to be focused a lot on the carrot and the idea of having us voluntarily adopt these things because it's easy, the way they're setting things up, or it will be easy, or they'll frame it that way at least. But I think it's very important for people to realize that they have the power. Otherwise, they wouldn't be investing all this money to manipulate us and pitch us on this. And we should take the power back as people. And we do that by taking actions in our own lives and doing things in our neighborhoods and our communities and with our families. And realizing that this is not where we want to go. at the end of the day. And there is so much we can do. And I think a good starting point, again, is to say no to digital ID. We don't need this biometric digital ID surveillance state that's going to be used not just to surveil what we're doing in real time, but also to predict what we might do in the future. A lot of these plans on the books and things that are being developed by these intelligence agencies are all about predictive policing, meaning pre-crime, and also applying that same methodology to healthcare. Prevent the next pandemic before it happens and all of this stuff. So you don't even need to declare a pandemic anymore to get emergency use authorization or mandates in particular communities and stuff like that. That is the world that you're setting up. It is very bad, and we should opt out, and we can opt out.
So you know what they will do is they will criminalize the use of money. Cash will become illegal. That's Whitney Webb, Phil. Yeah, they'll criminalize the use of cash to get rid of that underground economy. So they're pushing it very hard. And I'm still searching for those videos, that video I had. It's great because this Venezuela issue is little more than what it meets the eye. Not all over illegal drugs. Might be getting close, but maybe not. There's a few things I had on here. Anyways, there's, what else did I have? Well, searching around here. So, I don't want too much dead air on here. There's a lot going on in the U.S. with the shutdown of the government and their SNAP program, and people are talking about just going to go in and just from the stores and just take what they want, the grocery stores, or they're going to be robbing people in the parking lots to take their groceries when they come out. I see Walmart now, they're talking about locking their doors 1st of November. All these people seem to feel entitled that they deserve it, because otherwise, if they don't get their food stamps, they're not going to be able to get their makeup and their hair and their nails done, and no more tattoos, and that's just not fair. And the government owes them this. The taxpayers owe it to them. They shouldn't have to work for a living. Kind of sounds like what's going on here with some of the refugees. And okay, here we go. This is the one I was looking for. So I'll bring this up. I found this quite interesting. This is where I say Trump is playing 3D chess and people like Carney are playing marbles. Probably not even good at that. This is from One American News. Very interesting.
Trump is officially 3-0 with China. Here's what nobody's talking about. China had a heavy investment in Iran. Trump neutered them. China had a heavy investment in Gaza. Trump secured a regional firewall. China straightforwardly controlled Venezuela for 2 decades. Trump's moving in and China's blinking for a third time. And that's why everyone is asking, the wrong questions when it comes to Venezuela. The cover story is this. Trump's military buildup toward Venezuela is about countering narco-terrorism and targeting drug cartels like Tren de Agua, which are tied to the President Nicolas Maduro's regime. But analysts go a step further and they still miss the mark when they say, well, this is really about regime change. It's neither of these things. I mean, yes, we've got a drug problem, but it's actually ties to a much bigger issue. Trump's Venezuela offensive is much bigger. It's his proxy war against China. And he's the only president in history who is actually fighting China where it hurts. As of this week, Trump has positioned over 10,000 U.S. troops and 8 warships in the region. We have helicopters and Reaper drones taking out narco boats. We have F-35s, and Venezuela has scrambled their jets. And this week, Trump has authorized the CIA to carry out lethal operations in Venezuela. We'll dive into that one a little deeper in the next segment. All this to ostensibly go after drug boats and fight narco-terrorism. Yet everyone is taking this at face value. Listen.
Why not have the Coast Guard stop them, which it was empowered by law to do?
So Trump answers the question as asked.
Because we've been doing that for 30 years and it has been totally ineffective.
Even the ostensibly right-leaning National Review gets it wrong by musing that this is all about regime change. Here's why this whole Venezuela offensive is really about China, and this is a shadow war against Beijing. The first in history that looks like it will actually work. You see, attacking Maduro is attacking Xi Jinping. To think that Maduro is some independent agent is naive and foolish. Why is Venezuela basically China? Well, follow the money, the oil money. Again, remember what I said yesterday about why China is likely the biggest force behind the Gaza war and promoting Palestine and Hamas protests around the globe? Remember, it's about taking advantage of bad leadership that sits over cheap oil and cheap resources. China sweeps in, buys out the leadership, gets free gas, essentially. Venezuela is the poster boy of this predatory China oil game. Beijing is Venezuela.
Notice what she just said there. I'm just going to come back on that. Now listen to this. And does this remind you of Carney and Canada? Does this kind of sound like what's going on where he's swinging deals with Xi Jinping?
Advantage of bad leadership that sits over cheap oil and cheap resources. China sweeps in, buys out the leadership, gets free gas, essentially. Venezuela is the poster boy of this predatory China oil game. Beijing is Venezuela's largest creditor by far. Venezuela is over $60 billion in debt to Beijing since 2007. It pays Beijing back in, you guessed it, oil. Venezuela is economically paralyzed by sanctions. The only country supporting Venezuela meaningfully is Beijing because they're the primary buyers. This forces Venezuela to sell their oil for next to nothing, meaning they'll forever be indebted to Beijing. That's the whole game. That's the way China plays. In May 2025, at the China-CELAC Forum, Beijing gave Venezuela an additional $1 billion in new oil investments, solidifying Venezuela's position as the front lines of the U.S.-China shadow war. But China's interests in Venezuela go far beyond cheap oil and economics. Chinese companies are neck deep in modernizing Venezuela's ports and telecom infrastructures. And as in all things related to Chinese companies, you're a fool to think the Chinese Communist Party does anything without making it a dual military-civilian use project. I'll say it again. China does not allow its companies to operate in the world unless it could also be used for their national security purposes. So don't be fooled when Trump is using all this force and manpower and CIA expertise in Venezuela. This is Trump taking the war to China. He's doing what no other president before him was even remotely capable of accomplishing. Trump is declaring war on China's most valuable assets: Iran, Venezuela, Gaza. What do these tin pot dictatorships have in common? They'd be nothing without the Chinese Communist Party. And China would be nothing in the geopolitical stage without them. And now Trump is taking them. Iran, Gaza, and now Venezuela. 3 strikes. You're out, Xi. Trump is officially 3.
Well, Gaza, Venezuela, and China. Carney hasn't really had anything to say about Venezuela, but Gaza, Palestinian protesters here, and their supporters in Canada. And he wants to swing a deal with Asia, and he wants to get gas over to Asia. China wants to get it from the cheap tin pot dictators. Oh, I'll tell you, this it sounds like Carney, doesn't it? So, what's he up to? Selling us out? The BC Ferry contracts? The China owns, I'm pretty sure they own one, they got a claim up in the oil sands. The EVs, the Chinese EVs are probably going to be coming. Remember what she just said? They have a dual purpose. They have to be able to be used in the military. I don't know how that would work with these Chinese EVs, but they're pretty slippery, those guys. We're not quite sure what they're up to. So, yeah, she said a mouthful there, and you can just throw Canada into the mix. And look how cozy Carney is with Xi Jinping. Couldn't wait to get over there. So we're being sold out. China's getting a big gift. They're getting our energy. We're being sold down the river. I'm just looking at this Chanel Rion. She's on top of a lot of stuff. This one here, I'm going to do one more. It's another one. It's only 4 minutes, just over 4 minutes long. It's the same lady, but it goes back to natural gas deposits in the Mediterranean. This is from October 15th. So China needs gas. China needs oil. China needs energy. Cheap energy. Energy they can pillage.
Tonight we dive deeper. We explore China's role behind the Israel attacks on October 7th and the subsequent psyop China orchestrated to divide MAGA and turn the world against Israel. You see, China is very invested in Palestine against Israel. So much so that after President Xi met with the Palestine delegation in June of 2023, according to whistleblower Dr. Li Mengyan, Xi's office and Hamas established a direct line of communication just 4 months before the attacks on October 7th. Her evidence? She points out how after this meeting, CCP proceeded to reform Hamas. Hamas's governing structure, for example, mirrors almost exactly China's Communist Party structures. It has political bureaus, propaganda bureaus, and similar departments. But here's where it gets interesting. Turns out one of the masterminds of October 7 was trained by China, had a Chinese wife, and had direct ties to Xi Jinping's office. Meet Mohammed Deif. He was a top military leader for Hamas and one of the masterminds behind the October 7 massacre. He was killed in 2024. Deif, according to Dr. Yan, studied at the People's Liberation Army's Ordnance Engineering College in China. Deif married a Chinese woman from Dongjiang. Deif's Chinese wife was in direct communication with Xi Jinping's office. And if we had freedom of the press in China, we might have some enterprising journalists looking at the ties between Deif and the Chinese Communist Party's International Liaison Department. In particular, you might look at the ties between Deif and the Chinese Bureau of Mideast Affairs. Was China behind the October 7 attacks against Israel to start a war they could help Palestine win? Well, China gets two birds with one stone if they can divide the MAGA movement in America and capitalize on Steve Bannon's personal hatred for Trump's Jewish son-in-law, Jared Kushner. Capitalize on that, bring in the Nazi anti-Semitic threads on the right, and voila, You've got a divide amongst Trump's America First agenda. Weaken Trump's movement, divide them, and 1, 2, 3, you will have China's favorite governor, Gavin Newsom, sprawled out on the Oval Office floor, posing for pictures again. Seemed like it was a brilliant plan, and it was working. You had Greta Thunberg dropping her climate change hoax and trading it for a head rag. You had conservatives suddenly calling out the evils of Israel for daring to attack the Palestinians and starving their children. Standing arm in arm with the Palestinian Hamas protesters breaking out on campuses worldwide. What was going on? Well, it turns out this has been going on for years. Here's a Chinese teacher teaching students in the Gaza West Bank when Gaza schools signed broad cooperation agreements with the Chinese government to teach CCP-approved curriculum to Gaza students. Now, why is China so fascinated by Gaza and the Muslims there? For years. It's not like China has a particular love for Islam. Follow the money, the oil money. Remember what China's modus operandi has been. They go into dictatorships and regimes rejected by America and the West. China pays off the leadership and they get next to free oil. Look at Venezuela. China saw Venezuela opportunity in Gaza. You see, there is a natural gas deposit directly off the coast of Gaza. It was discovered in 2000, but contested until, get this, June 2023. This was when Israel gave Egypt the preliminary agreement to tap into the natural gas deposits off Gaza. Remember June 2023? This was the same time that Hamas leadership was allegedly visiting Xi Jinping. 4 months later, Hamas invaded Israel. Is it a coincidence? Well, our next guest, independent virologist, staunch whistleblower against the Chinese Communist Party, and a respected truth teller on the origins of COVID-19 is Dr. Li Meng Yan. She is the host of The Voice of Dr. Yan. Dr. Yan.
Yeah. Also, just remember that in Canada, the Chinese police stations, and the fact that Trudeau had the Canadian Armed Forces training the People's Army, the Chinese Army in Canada for cold weather fighting. What's going on? Are we in deeper than we know with China? Why is Carney fighting against the U.S. so hard? Why does he not want a deal? Why are they throwing dirt? What's Doug Ford up to? What a loser. Man, I can't understand Ontario, but they didn't have any choice, and Doug lied like a good liberal. Like Carney lied, like Trudeau lied. So, I think we're in a bigger mess than we actually really know right now. A lot's going to happen here coming up, it looks like. So, little Chinese warship docked in Vancouver Harbor. I wonder what's going on over on the island. Yeah, I mean, Vancouver Island, well, Vancouver itself, very close to Seattle. So, Nick, of course we are. That's why Doug Ford wants to ditch rent controls to appraise foreign investors. It's going to be hard to keep up with all this, isn't it? So, the U.S., Canada's the back door, is the thing. And Trump's got a lot on his plate right now. Venezuela, the Middle East, and he's involved in peace talks continually, it seems. Trade with all these different countries. He's got the midterms coming up. He's got internal strife with government shutdown. There's a lot on his mind. A lot of distractions. Carney's got his arms wide open, following in Trudeau's footsteps. They said, oh, there's bad blood between Trudeau and Xi Jinping. I don't know about that. Seemed to be a lot happening under Trudeau. So, Emma, funny how things have worsened for Canada under since Carney sided with Palestine. Yes, and he still is siding with Palestine. He's not giving that up. Like she said, China's involved in that. Carney's in there supporting them. The world, the corruption right now in some of these leaders, major issues. Bill, Canada's future depends on the USA. Yes, we gotta stay best buddies, best friends, and allies with the USA. Fortress North America is what we need. I don't know how it's going to shake out here in Canada. Maybe we're going to have to need a little assistance south of the border. I don't know, but Ford and Carney working together. Ford will help Carney get elected again. Oh yeah, it's a tag team. No doubt about it. I mean, he was up Trudeau's butt. Trudeau's up his. I'm not sure. I don't even want to think about it. They're probably just best buddies, if you know what I mean. Yeah, and then Carney came in and took over. He was a plant, WEF plant. Most of my family is on Vancouver Island or in Vancouver. Well, horrible place to be. I'm glad I bailed out of Vancouver back in around 2012, I think it was. It was a good move. Our politicians, I don't know. We'll find out here on the November 4th when the budget comes down. I expect Don Davies to support it, the NDP. So, stuck in for the winter anyways, till next spring at least. Is Carney going to give us another budget in the spring like he's supposed to? They held off on this one till November. I'll pretty much be just before Parliament shuts down for Christmas. Just be a few weeks, and he's not going to be around anyways. He's just going to be cruising around the world. So he's not going to come back with anything. He's going to make lots of promises as usual. So killing time. What he's doing is killing time, and as David there, Moose on the Loose, would say, he's just picking up some extra pocket change going around the world. He's swinging deals. There's, gotta remember, there's time change next weekend, right? And some of the channels I watch, just a few that I watch, here's David on Moose on the Loose. Also Jasmine Lane, Laine, and Wyatt Claypool on the National Telegraph, Northern Perspective, and of course Rebel News. So there's many others too, but those are the top ones I catch every day, and there's a few American ones I catch every morning too. So, but if you're looking for some up-to-date Canadian information on political information, those would be the ones to check out. They're all good. They're all very good. They're big channels, every one of them. So, other than that, I guess we've covered a few things this week, so it's always great seeing everybody on here, like I say. We'll just take a quick boo here at what's going on. So, hey, Frank Vaughn isn't bad. Yeah, I don't really watch Frank Vaughn much. I'm not subscribed to Frank. I don't think I am. I know I'm subscribed to I don't know how many channels. But anyways, there's different perspectives. Vivo, you couldn't pay me to have lived in Vancouver or Vancouver Island. I lived in Alberta and interior BC when I lived in Canada. I had no interest in Vancouver. I feel Frank Braun was a PPC supporter. He actually ran for the PPC, Phil. You maybe is what you mean too, referring to. Jays better get their crap together. That was pretty bad last night, wasn't it, Faye? I knew you'd be watching it. Game one was wild. That new pitcher, Dodgers have got, that is just crazy. They can't get a hit. Can't get a hit. They can't, they're not getting any home runs. So, anyways, yeah, I'll say that's it for this week. And have a wonderful week, everybody. And thank you for joining in. And hope you help kill a little time, anyways. Do it again next week. People, Toronto Blue Jays, hope they win a World Series. I've never liked the Dodgers. Yeah, well, Doug Ford's got a side bet with Gavin Newscomb there in California. Doug will get the wine, and Gavin will get the sugar. Right on. Okay, folks. See you later. Have a great week. God bless everyone is. Bye now.